Hi, I'm Greg Crawford with the Friday News Dump, brought to you by World News Trust. There's been a lot of chatter lately about an inbred bearded cretin from the swamplands of Louisiana named Phil Richardson, the erstwhile patriarch of a faux reality show called Duck Dynasty. Seems old Phil got to flapping his gums a bit too freely during an interview with GQ magazine. Why Gentleman's Quarterly would want to interview this web-footed yahoo is anybody's guess. Whatever. Fleabeard started spewing some seriously nasty and ill-informed remarks about gays and people of color. This, quite understandably, drew some fire from a few folks. And the producers of Duck Dynasty suspended Richardson from the show indefinitely. Of course, the right-wing idiocracy jumped to his defense. GOP congressional candidate Ian Bain even went so far as to compare him to Rosa Parks. The asinine stupidity of that remark will become evident in a minute. Never one to pass up a chance to make an even bigger fool of herself, Sarah Palin weighed in with that fingernails-on-a-blackboard voice of hers, proclaiming poor Phil's suspension to be a gross violation of his First Amendment rights. Now, ignorance has never slowed Sarah down before, and this time was no different. Not only did she not read the interview before she started screeching, it's a safe bet she's never read the Constitution either. But let's clarify something for Sarah Kuta. The First Amendment to the Constitution reads thusly: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the expression thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's the whole thing. So you see, Sarah, the First Amendment refers to Congress, not to a private employer, which means that your argument isn't with the government, it's with A&E and the producers of Duck Dynasty. And I have to wonder, Sarah, if even a low-wattage intellect such as yourself really wants to express solidarity with Richardson's views. If you haven't read them yet, Richard said this about gays. You start with homosexual behavior and just morph out from there. Bestiality? That kind of sanctimonious crap is bad enough, and born-again Bible thumpers should reflect on their guiding phrase, what would Jesus do? But wait until you read what he said about black people in the pre-civil rights era South. And I quote, I never saw with my own eyes the mistreatment of a black person, not once. That's followed by a few brainless non sequiturs, and then he goes on to say, they were godly, they were happy, and no one was singing the blues. There was more blather, but you get the point. That is some seriously bigoted ignorance. So you can see why the comparison to Rosa Parks is so deeply offensive to anyone with an IQ above room temperature, not just to people of color that have had to endure centuries of this malice from shitwits like Robertson. But was it really ignorance? Or was it a calculated maneuver intended to generate buzz about a show aimed at idiots with the attention spans of goldfish? Given the recent revelations of his views on marrying 15-year-old girls, probably both. Writing for the Daily Kos, Vian introduced us to the wisdom of his new best friend, Dusty, a good old Southern boy who discovered this about the Richardson clan, with pictures. Before getting a TV show, the Richardsons were fairly well-to-do, Izod-wearing, highlight hair, beach-bearing, clean-shaven yuppies who manufactured, what else? Duck calls. It would appear that things aren't always what they are purported to be. Phil Richardson is undoubtedly the kind of narrow-minded, holier-than-thou, cradle-robbing dirtbag that his audiences wish they could be. But he's also a fraud. So, Phil, with regard to your grossly misinformed generalizations about gays, I want to ask you this. Do you know why men have nipples? And don't say, because God, because that dog won't hunt. Here's why. Every human being is female at conception. Even big, bad, Ted-engaged, toting stud muffins like you, Phil. This is because a human ovum, or egg, has only one X chromosome. A sperm cell can have either an X or a Y chromosome. If it's an X, you get a girl. If it's a Y, you get a boy. But the Y chromosome does not make the zygote completely male until later in the gestation process, hence the nipples. How much later is dependent on a host of variables too numerous to quantify here. So it stands to reason that the development of the neural pathways that will ultimately determine someone's personality and sexual preferences might develop at varying rates as well. No one can choose to be gay any more than they can choose to have blue eyes. Such determinations are quite literally made in the womb. Oh, did I rock your world, Philly? Good. Well, hell, as long as I have your attention. Evolution is real, and so is global warming. Oh, and the Earth is a globe, not flat, and it's about 14 billion years old, not 6,000. And despite what that biblical theme park might claim, humans did not live with dinosaurs. There's about 85 million years, give or take a million, between the last dinosaur and the first proto-human. And, for the record, I'm straight, married, and came of age in the 60s. I'm the same age as you, Phil. Now, I realize that someone of limited intellectual capacity needs simplistic answers to comprehend complex questions. That's why fundamentalist religions are so popular, and why there are Republicans. But that doesn't mean they're right. Yeah, I know. Never try to reason with the devout, but it's fun to see their heads explode when they're confronted with the truth. Now, about the happy black folks of the Jim Crow era. Christ, where do I even begin? Oh, what the hell? Let's explode one more head. I've commented on this before, but it's worth repeating. You see, the only reason your skin's not black, Phil, is because when your earliest ancestors, like mine, came out of Africa to populate Europe and Asia, their skin had to lose pigmentation in order to absorb enough vitamin D from sunlight, which was in shorter supply in northern latitudes. All this means that way down deep inside, every witless, bigoted cracker that watches your show is just as black as Snoop Lion. Whew. Sorry, Snoop, I don't mean to insult you, but it is true. So, Phil, be a little nicer to a brother, whether he's gay, black, or both. They ain't as different from you as you think. And if you got to kill to eat, that's one thing. I've done it too. But stop killing ducks for the fun of it. That's just sick.